All right, welcome back to another Healing Conversation podcast with your favorite self-care coach, Ida Speaks. Today, I have a short message that I wanted to share with you guys, especially those of you who are in relationships, who are single, or who are trying to figure out their way through life and also dealing with your emotions. If you have been following me, you know that my emotions can really play a toll in how I show up, which I try to work on daily. But it wasn't until I want to say in the midnight hour, that's around like 12, 1, 2 o'clock, when God woke me up. And, I just started crying. I'm like, God, I'm 30 years old and I'm still deficient in this area of my life. And I think I'm grateful for everything else. But in this area of my life, I don't see any movement. And it became very discouraging. And as I was being discouraged, I was also being consumed with anger. I was also being consumed with discontent, because I was like, God, how could you be this God in my life, this gracious Father, and I still don't have this flowing. I still don't have this flowing in my life. How could you be the God that loves me so much? How could you love me as you say you do, but I still don't have this in my life? And then I started to, how you know about tones, tonality, when you speak low and then you speak high, and then when you're angry, there's an aggression, there's a strong force with you, like you're just like angry. And in my head, of course, because I'm not gonna wake up nobody, but I was just like, oh God, like, oh my gosh, how could you be this God? And I started to question God. I started to question, I started to say, how could you love me the way you say you do? And I'm experiencing all these stuff, or I'm in lack in this area of my life. I was so angry, and I'm like, God, how can this be? And then God was like, you're gonna talk to me that way? And I was like, hold on, wait a minute, God, what do you mean? He was like, is this how you're going to talk to me? And I had to pause and try to figure out, like, what's the matter? Because you're my God, you're my Lord, you're my provider, you're the God who forgives. Or I don't know what I thought that made it okay for me to speak to him like that, even in my anger, right? But in my head, I never thought twice about it. I just was like, I'm angry. But God was like, is this how you're going to talk to me? Because at the same time, as I'm in this healing journey, well, let me just back it up, right? Y'all gonna get into my business, but I mean, might as well happen, right? So I was talking to somebody, and it didn't go as what I thought it would have gone to. And I was angry, but there was moments in that connection where when something scared me or struck my anxiety, I started to get angry, because I began to be more afraid. I didn't know how to express it calmly or choose a right time to express it. And so when it came, even though I was right, my delivery wasn't right. You understand what I'm saying? So when God told me, are you going to talk to me that way? Why he asked me that is because I was also praying for God to fix that part of me. I was also praying for God to heal that part of me. I was also praying for God to make me more softer in my approach, make me more soft-spoken, make me more feminine, make me more intelligent in how or when I decide, or when to when to approach a conflict or whatever. And then I also said, God, I want to build and strengthen my relationship with you. So when God asked me, are you going to talk to me that way? He was also checking, is this the kind of relationship I want to build with him? Is this the kind of environment I want my spirit dwelling in? Anger and all this uncontrollable reaction when things may not go the way I have wanted to, or how I would thought my 30s would have gone, or how I would thought it would have gone. And so when he questioned me about that, I started to cry, and I'm like, God, wait a minute, like, you should understand. You should understand. And God is like, I do understand, but I will not continue to allow you to speak to me that way. And the many times when I started to reflect on how I was speaking to God in my disappointments, God could have struck me. You understand? God is so gracious to the point where we don't even see at times we offend God. We don't even see it because we're so accustomed to that type of speech. We're so accustomed to that type of lifestyle that we don't know some ways that we have, some habits that we have offends God. So when he checked me about that, I was like, hold on, God. Wait a minute, not you checking me about that? I thought we was, no, but God was like, if you're trying to build an authentic relationship with me, you also have to be careful how you speak to me. And if you want to have a healthy relationship with other people, you have to be careful how you speak to them. And so God was showing me that even in how I have a relationship with him determines the relationship I will have with other people. How I speak to him and my disappointment determines how I will speak to other people and my disappointment. You know, sometimes people be like, how you are on the inside is what you will exude. And it's true. You know, you may not exude it all the time, but what happens when you're disappointed? What happens when things don't go your way? What happens when the ball falls? You know, like things just going out of control. It don't go as planned. What happens? What do? Do you just curse God, right? And then I started to think about Jesus and his journey, right? Nowhere in his journey to the cross he ever cursed God. He only said, he only said that I submit my will unto you, God, not my will, let your will be done. So then I said, God, when can God get me to that place? Get me to that place where I can say, God, I submit my will to you. I submit my plans to you. Let it not be my will, but let your will be done. Let your way, let continue to have your way in my life. Like, God, let me die so you can live in me, live purely in me, God, so I can exude healthy, peaceful tranquility, harmony to the people around me. Sometimes God would check us in an area that is causing things to not happen. You're wondering why your blessings isn't being released. Maybe it's because how you are talking. Maybe it's because the way you think. Maybe it's because the way you speak. When will we be real with ourselves and be like, okay, hold on, maybe I shouldn't have done it this way. Maybe my approach should have been different. And God, because I'm single and this is the only relationship I have right now besides my siblings and stuff. He's checking me. Like, wait a minute, as we are going through our relationship together, baby, you can't speak to me that way. You can't speak to me that way. You understand what I'm saying? So I just wanted to come on here and encourage you that everything that we are on the inside comes out. How we are with God shows. And I just thank God that he revealed that to me, because I thought, oh, maybe I have like a temper issue, or which is maybe that's probably like a connection. But it's also very direct how he showed it to me. Be careful how you speak to me. And I wanted to tell somebody out there, be careful how you speak to people around you. Be careful how you speak to God. Because as merciful as he still is God. And he still can sit you down in many different ways. So I wanted to just bring that awareness to you guys. Your relationship with God matters, and it will shows how you have relationship with other people. So right now, God, as I end this podcast, I want to pray for the people who are dealing with internal battles, who are dealing with disappointment, who are dealing with shortcomings in their lives, Father. That they're wanting to please you. They want a relationship with you. They want authenticity with you, God. So I pray, God, that you will have your way in their lives. I pray, Lord Father God, that they will strive to build a healthy relationship with you. Again, this is another Healing Conversation podcast with Addie Speaks. You guys have a great day.